I'm Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. So this week, live from the O2 Arena in London, was WWE's Money in the Bank. Let's get into it. The opening match was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, with Butch, Shinsuke Nakamura, Santos Escobar, Damian Priest, Ricochet, LA Knight, and Logan Paul. Not only was the audience not happy with Logan Paul being in the match, but the wrestlers weren't happy about it either. They made that clear, ganging up on him throughout the entire match. Although they were basically saying that the reason they weren't okay with him being in the match is because he didn't have to qualify. I think it would have been great if they would have just said the real reason is because he's a douche. It's the Money in the Bank match. It's always good. The only way to make it bad is to have a really, really bad winner. Because other than that, it's basically good chaos. Crazy stuff. And this one had a good winner. There were a few people in here that I believe could win and could go on to be one of the champions. So there were several I would have been happy about. Only a couple I wouldn't have been happy about. Namely Logan Paul. So basically I was like going into this, the only way they could really screw this up is to let Logan Paul win. And they didn't. The eventual winner climbing up and grabbing the briefcase was Damian Priest. And I'm absolutely fine with that. I would love to see him as the World Heavyweight Champion. I don't know if he's the right guy to take the title off of Roman Reigns. Not to mention, if they cash it in on Roman Reigns and take it, to me that would be a very cheap way to end that historic title reign. But then again, they're also talking about officially, since last year, you can use it on any championship, including the Intercontinental or United States. Hope he doesn't go that route, because in my opinion, a wrestler grabbing that briefcase and using it on anything other than the world title is a waste. Whatever, we'll see what happens. However, as good as it was, still couldn't give it a 5 because they put Logan Paul in the match. Sorry, I don't care how well he performs in the ring. He's a douche, I don't like him, and I don't want him in wrestling. But it still got its 4 out of 5. Yeah! The next match was for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Surprising they put this on a PLE. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler against the champions that never officially lost the titles, Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. Although I will say, them coming out right off the bat shows how seriously WWE takes the Women's Tag Team Championships. Because they literally just unified the Women's Tag Team Championships with the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, yet they only came out with the one set of championships. Versus the Men's Tag Team Champions are still coming out with both sets. Roman Reigns is still coming out with the other 2 titles, even though they gave him the one title to encompass all of them. But not the Women's Tag Team Champions. And this match was basically what we expected. It was just Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler dominating until something that we didn't expect. Shayna Baszler turned on Ronda Rousey. Didn't expect that, but then again, there's a reason I didn't expect that. However, it told a story, and it actually was something interesting in this match. It led to Liv Morgan getting the Oblivion on Ronda Rousey, getting the pin, and her and Raquel Rodriguez regaining the Tag Team Championships. And it's sad that I didn't really care about that. I only cared about the Ronda Rousey-Shayna Baszler thing, which I'll get more into later. But before that happened, I was about to give this a 2. That did bump it up to a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Third match for the Intercontinental Championship, Matt Riddle challenged Gunther. As much as I love Gunther and I love his Intercontinental Championship reign, he's very close to breaking the Honky Tonk Man's record and becoming the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. And it's about time somebody broke that record. This match wasn't that great, which I actually expected it to be a lot better. Gunther's a great wrestler. As much as I don't like Matt Riddle, he's a good wrestler. But this match really had a feeling of like they were just going through the motions. And it went until Gunther got the ankle lock on Matt Riddle and his injured ankle and got Matt Riddle to tap out, retaining his Intercontinental Championship. I was basically going to give it a 2 until right after we had the return of Drew McIntyre, who we haven't seen since WrestleMania, who has still got his sights set on the Intercontinental Championship. I don't really know how I feel about that, but it was exciting enough to bump this whole thing up to another 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then the grudge match. Dominic Mysterio versus Cody Rhodes. This match kind of went how we expected it. Completely. Dominic Mysterio constantly running away from Cody Rhodes and hiding behind Rhea Ripley, because she's tougher than Dominic. Occasionally just getting a cheap shot on Cody Rhodes, but then when Cody Rhodes finally catches him, he dominates him until he gets the crossroads onto Dominic Mysterio and gets the pin. because that's what this entire rivalry was just something for Cody Rhodes to do until he has Brock Lesnar Cody Rhodes match number 3. Honestly, I have no idea what they're doing or why now, and this was pointless. Honestly, this one, as much as I like Cody Rhodes, he's one of my favorites at the moment, there was just nothing to this match. It was goofy and ridiculous. I would only give it a 2 out of 5. Yeah. Then in between this and the next match, we had John Cena come out to a big applause by the London audience. And basically he just came out to thank London and talk about how great it is that they're doing a major PLE from London, which they haven't done since SummerSlam 92, and alluding to he thinks they should do a WrestleMania from London, which I would be okay with. It'd be cool. And then he got interrupted by Grayson Waller, who came out and said it would basically be a waste to have WrestleMania in London. They should do it in Australia. I'm fine with either one. I don't care. If it's not going to be close enough for me to go, then I don't care. Whatever. And then, of course, John Cena and Waller had words, and ended with Waller attacking John Cena, which wasn't a good idea because he got an attitude adjustment. Then, we finally have the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, with Damage Control members Bayley, Io Sky, Zelina Vega, Zoe Stark, Trish Stratus, and Becky Lynch. Honestly, in my opinion, this one was much better than the men's match before. It was really cool. A lot of exciting stuff these ladies did during this match. And there were some cool moments like Io Sky doing her famous moonsault from the top of the ladder, and a brutal cringe moment from Becky Lynch, where she took some handcuffs that Zoe Stark had brought out and used them to fishhook Bayley. Ugh. And then even in a tit-for-tat moment, because Bayley had pushed Io Sky off the ladder, her Damage Control partner. Even though I don't understand why people get mad about stuff like that, it is every woman for themselves. But Io Sky did get her back, as while Becky and Bayley were fighting, she took the handcuffs, handcuffed both Becky Lynch and Bayley together through the ladder rungs, climbed over Bayley's back, and got the briefcase. It was a great way to end it. It's adding the story drama element of pretty sure that Io Sky and Bayley in Damage Control are done, and we'll see where that goes. This one I'm giving a 5 out of 5. Then for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Finn Balor challenged champion Seth frickin' Rollins. Honestly, I was expecting so much more out of this match, considering the match they had 7 years ago for the Universal Championship, and that match was fantastic, and these two have only gotten better. But it was a very big letdown. Not because it wasn't good, it just wasn't as good as we were hoping for. Honestly, there wasn't really much noteworthy to talk about in this match until Damian Priest came out with the Money in the Bank briefcase, making us question, is he about to cash it in, even though his Judgment Day partner, Finn Balor, is currently challenging, or is he out there to help Finn Balor get the championship? Well, he didn't end up doing either, actually. He didn't cash it in, and he distracted his partner, allowing Seth Rollins to get the stomp and the pin, retaining his WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Honestly, as far as this match goes, like I said, it was a bit of a letdown, but it was still good enough to get itself a 3 out of 5. Yay! Then the main event. Not for a title, just a story. The Bloodline Civil War. The Usos versus Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. It was really good. Can't complain about it. I mean, it wasn't flashy or anything like that. It was just the story that was being told throughout it. Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa dominated most of the match. The Usos got in plenty of offense themselves, but it was mostly going to Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa until Solo Sikoa was going to put Jimmy Uso through the announce table, and Jimmy Uso got out of the way just in time, so he put himself through the announce table, leaving Roman Reigns alone. And he was not able to fight off both of the Usos. Eventually, after a couple of super kicks, Jey Uso got the Uso splash onto Roman Reigns, and for the first time in 3.5 years, Roman Reigns got pinned. So ultimately, it was a great story being told, but the one thing that takes a point away is that it has been since WrestleMania that Roman Reigns has defended his championship. It's not since WrestleMania he's wrestled on a PLE, but he hasn't defended the title since WrestleMania. And I'll get more into that in a moment. But even though this is a great story, and it's being built up and being told right, it still takes a point away. That yet another PLE he hasn't defended his title. Best I could give this is a 4 out of 5. Yeah! So Money in the Bank 2023 overall, it was okay. It did have some great matches, had some 4s, had a 5, had a couple of 3s, had a 2. Some of the matches did feel like filler just to get to the important matches. And I'm sorry, but in my opinion, I don't like that ever. I feel like every match on a PLE should be an important match. The men's Money in the Bank match, like I said, I don't like that Logan Paul was in it. I don't. I don't like the potential of him getting a title shot. He doesn't need to get a title shot if he's just going to be a part-timer. And ultimately, I just don't like him in general. I know people like to go, well, it's about his wrestling, it's about his wrestling. Okay, well, R. Kelly's a good singer. I'm not going to support him after the crap he did. People want to forget that Logan Paul ripped off his fans and made fun of somebody who had literally just killed themselves. So I can't sit there and know that stuff and go, but he's a great wrestler. The women's tag team match, I'm okay with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler being rivals. I've honestly been waiting to see that, but I think it was too soon. Like, this was really just getting some momentum going, and they're going to kill it. But then again, I'm hoping the only reason they're killing it is to just get rid of the women's tag team championships. They've become an afterthought. The unification match happened on a SmackDown when normally something like that would be on a PLE. And again, they unified the championships barely 2 weeks ago, and already they just got rid of the other set. They didn't come out with both the NXT and WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, basically saying like that one wasn't important. And the fact that a new team won those tag team championships was an afterthought to the tag team champions themselves splitting up. Shows you how much emphasis is placed on it. In my opinion, at this point, just get rid of it. If I were WWE, that's what I would do. I would get rid of it, I would create a mid-card championship for the women, and make the biggest deal about it being that they could go between brands. The Gunther-Matt Riddle match, they did a little bit build up, but it just was poor execution in my opinion. As far as McIntyre coming back to win the title, cool, but ultimately, it's kind of a step down for him. It's not like he's never been Intercontinental Champion before, and he should be going after one of the world titles. The Dominic Mysterio and Cody Rhodes match, it was as pointless as the rivalry. It was just something to keep Cody Rhodes busy. The women's Money in the Bank match was probably the highlight of the night. I'm excited at the concept of Io Sky becoming one of the women's champions, and I think it is time for Damage Control to break up, because with the fact that they've been booked into a hole, what's to do now? The heavyweight championship match was a letdown, and the main event was good. I like the story being told, but a lot of people are saying Jey Uso should become the champion. I don't really agree there. I don't think he's ready for that. If they want to have the Usos go out and win mid-card championships, okay. But I don't want to see him be the guy taking the title off of Roman Reigns. In my opinion, it has to be Cody Rhodes. But it also bothers me that since WrestleMania, all this hype of, oh, it's been over 1,000 days. Well, it's easy to get over 1,000 days when you don't defend your championship. That's one asterisk on Brock Lesnar's big, long title reign, was that he hardly ever defended it. 2 or 3 times a year. Who cares? Even the old school days of guys like Bruno Sammartino, that's one thing that people argue with about whether or not he was the greatest champion ever. Yeah, he had it for a long time, but he didn't defend it all the time. He defended it sparingly. It's why in the real sports like boxing and MMA, they don't really emphasize how long they've been champion, but how many title defenses they've had. That's what makes them the best champion, is how many title defenses they've had. Because it's easy to hold it a long time if you don't risk losing it. In the beginning of Roman Reigns' championship reign, yeah, he was defending it almost every month like everybody else, but the last year or so, he hardly defends it. So is it that big a deal? Not really. It's just padding his reign. And that bothers me. So whereas I was happy to see this match, I was also a little disappointed. Honestly, with Money in the Bank 2023, despite the few great matches, I'd only give it a 3 out of 5. So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications when I post videos, and leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of Money in the Bank 2023. Love you guys.